You are now tuning in to the Val and Val Show, where conversation is art, 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 art. Conversation is art, conversation is art. You should chime in, ain't no telling what to spot on the Val and Val Show. Ain't no telling the Val and Val Show. You know, ain't no telling where we go on the Val and Val Show. Ain't no ceiling, cause the art of conversation is the flow. It's that creativity available when we speak, available in our homes, available in the streets. We just trying to get it sparking and take it a little deeper. Keep it casual while fireside chatting with our people. Yeah, we take it a little deeper. It get hot when we fireside chatting with our people. Cause conversation is art, conversation is art. You should chime in, ain't no telling what'll spark on the Val, the Val and Val Show, the Val and Val Show.
Well, good evening, everyone. Hope all is well. Hopefully, you all can hear me. I've had some technical difficulties. I see the video is playing on Facebook, so I'm just going to assume you all can hear me. Anyway, Tiff was lined up. However, she had something come up with her son, so she is not going to be with me tonight. So it's going to be me, myself, and I. And you all, should be used to that. I've had a couple of those chats with myself. Chats with myself. So good evening. Hope everyone is well. Welcome to the Val and Val Show. We're winding down. Next week, of course, is Thanksgiving. We won't be here. We will be probably so full from everything that we've eaten. So won't nobody be thinking about conversations art and nothing else, and be watching a whole lot of football, as we know, because this is the week right here. This is the big week in college football. So I'm gonna say go Blazers, although they're not going very well this year. And of course, roll tide. And to my Tiger fans, hey y'all, how y'all doing? How y'all doing? All is well. So anyway, as I said, I really hate Tiffany could not come because we were actually going to talk about politics, which is some deeply tonight, something I generally don't do. However, it's been a lot going on this week. Oh, it's been crazy. It's been unbelievable, the things that are happening. And you all, for me, for those that don't know, I am a believer. And when I say I'm a believer, I don't mean just, what I guess you say generally has been the entire Bible. I believe that Jesus gave us the model of how we should live, regardless of how we feel about it. I do know there are sometimes what they say, you just want to pop somebody upside the head. But the turn the other cheek. And that doesn't necessarily mean what we think it means. It does not mean you cannot deal with conflict or things that bother you. It's the manner in which you do it. So I'm trying to be really mindful now, because y'all, I can have a mouth. It came down through the Quaker side of the family, and also some from my dad. As laid back as he was, if you tapped him just right, you poked the bear, he was coming at you. My mom just kind of like, she didn't give you too many steps down the road to get there. Okay. She was going to say, okay, you better back it up. My dad will let you go a little bit further. However, I've learned that I can respond differently, and you can speak very direct and still be nice. Now, the problem is being a black person, a black female for sure. If I speak very direct or whatever, it's going to be viewed as hostile. I'm beyond that. I don't care because some things require a sharp tone to let you know I ain't playing. So that is what it is. I'm amazed how in some other races, those that have less melanin in their skin than us, and I'm not talking about the lighter complexions of those that are forced to identify as black. And I say forced because we didn't get a choice in it. So they're viewed as confident, bold, courageous, but we're viewed as hostile, angry. Uh, we think we all of that. And yes, I do. Because two males in my life told me so. My daddy and the Lord God Almighty. Because I'm his daughter. I'm his child. So I am somebody. So I'm not gonna let anyone cower me down and make me feel bad about who I am and whose I am. So with that being said, the topic, and I'm going to put it up here, what we were going to be talking about. Well, we are going to talk about it. Just going to be different. And if Tiff had been here third Thursday with Tiff, it's going to be what's next. Nobody really knows. And you all, if you ever did not know what's next, man, we don't have a whole lot of what's next going on because we do not know based on today. So I'm not going to say I'm surprised, but what I am going to say, you all, this is a spiritual thing. This is a spiritual thing that we are experiencing, okay? And the reason is spiritual, you all, because from the believer's perspective, everything that we see happening in the earth realm for us is spiritual. Is spiritual. So we need to view it from a spiritual lens. Don't take for granted President Trump, President-elect Trump being reelected, that God didn't allow it. He did. The same as he allowed all the other presidents to be elected. Vice president, those wanted to be vice president, he wanted them there. We have a tendency to think things are just happenstance. They're not. They are not. Nothing in life is happenstance. Okay. Now, do we always end up with God's perfect will? No, because we're disobedient, flawed beings. So sometimes we got to get what we get to realign us. For those that are believers, I'm not talking to people that don't know God, okay? And some of you that think you know God, I question that just based on how you act, and even with some of the things that are going on in the earth realm today. I guess the big thing to jump on is Matt Gates, Gantz. I hate to pronounce people wrong. Now I forgot to double check that. But he resigned. He resigned from taking the attorney general's position. So, wonder why? Is it because was it really for the good of the party, or was something going to be coming down the pipe? I tend to believe the latter. Okay. Because just based on his personality, which is very, to me, narcissistic, and I think I'm all of that, he would not have stepped down. As they say, somebody got some receipts, got some tall receipts for him, okay? And I'm gonna need y'all out there to tag people, because with me hosting by myself tonight, I'm not able to tag things like I normally would. So I need y'all to help me out tonight. Anyway, I didn't even got to listen to a lot of the things that he was saying. But y'all, we know that something definitely major had to show up. It had to, beyond a shadow of a doubt, okay? It had to, for him to step down. And y'all, some of these appointees that he selected, I mean, at least Matt Gaetz is an attorney. He ain't like not having a degree or anything. At least he is an attorney. So we can appreciate that. He did get an attorney. Now, for some of these other selections, This Pete Hegseth that he's picked to be over the, I think it's Department of Defense. He's been in National Guard. I ain't knocking the Guard because I was in the Guard too, okay? I was in the Guard, okay? Got to travel the world. Um, got to get through college debt free. Now, even if I had stayed in 20 years, I wouldn't have been qualified to run the Department of Defense, okay? No. I definitely feel like that definitely belongs to a full-time military person who got a few stripes, not stripes, stars, general, that type of thing on their shoulders, okay? Not the National Guard member, okay? That probably, if you said boo, they wouldn't know what to do. So, but what I find interesting, and y'all know they play this political game on both sides of the aisle. Let me put my disclaimer out there. I am neither Democratic nor Republican, okay? I have no faith in either party. Be assured. None whatsoever, okay? All of them are self-serving to a certain extent. The advantage I would give to the Democrats are they are more compassionate and concerned about all people versus like the GOP, who seem to be only concerned about not all people on the GOP side, just those that are of a certain social status. Now, do they have people brainwashed that they really care about them and feel different? I believe, yeah, they do. And the interesting thing is that many of them that supported them, I took went on MSBC and took these clips to look at how we voted. Age wise, 18 to 29, 54% voted for Harris, 43 for Trump. 30 to 44, 49 for Harris, 48% for Trump. It's kind of even in there. That's where my daughter falls in the millennials. 45 to 64, that's me. Only 44% of us voted for Harris. The rest of us voted for Trump. Now, maybe it's a bunch of one percenters that are in my age group that voted for Trump because they feel like they're gonna make them more wealthy. I couldn't do that, not even for the sake of money, okay? And I'm gonna tell you later on why I ended up voting for Kamala, because I wasn't gonna vote. I was gonna skip that box. Okay, I really was this year. But I had a motivation. 65 plus kind of split. 49% both for Harris and Trump. Then we get down to nationwide. Women, 18 to 29, 61% voted for Harris, 37% for Trump. Now you can be assured they were definitely voting for their reproductive rights. And I'm using that term intentionally because it is about reproductive rights. It's more than about abortion. I don't agree with abortion for the sake of just having an abortion, a form of birth control. No, I don't agree with that. However, women should not be having miscarriages, ectopic pregnancies, or whatever, and doctors are afraid to take care of them. People have died. People have died. And the thing with reproductive rights, if they chip away at this, later on, can they come back and say, um, we don't like women with red hair? Can they take away that? We already know as black folks, we have a problem with hair anyway. Okay? Definitely if it's natural. Next, can they come along and say, and I'm exaggerating some of this, but I'm making a point. Once they start chipping away at one little right, the next thing you build, and I'm really reminded of the war on drugs. It started out, oh, cocaine, crack, and war on drugs. Well, when the bill finally got fully drafted and passed, they had made crack a more severe crime than cocaine. And guess what? We just gonna call a thing a thing. Because majority of white folks and wealthier people that may be non-white use cocaine. So they was taking care of their buddies. So you still have that nepotism and that protect my own, even if they're doing wrong. That's the problem right there. Then we have 30 to 44 was 54% Harris, 43% Trump and women. Then 45 to 64, my age group, 49% Harris, 50% Trump. So kind of even there. Then 65 plus went with 54% Harris and 45% Trump, which surprised me. But then I had to sit back and think about that thing. You know why I think those older women went with it? Because guess what? They didn't have any control. They couldn't vote. They couldn't get birth control without their husband's permission. There was many things that women could not do. They were literally at the mercy of their husband. And that is what is going on now, y'all. White males, predominantly, not all, but it's enough of y'all that do support it. And then the others that's left, you all want to maintain your position based on your whiteness. So you don't say anything because it's an advantage. It's an advantage. But why are you so tied to that advantage at the expense of others? The white race, as it's identified, is still the majority for now. Won't be in a while because the world is becoming, United States and the world is becoming browner. However, with the shift that happened with Hispanic males moving on to the GOP, and I get to that, and then black males, the GOP with that mindset that they have, which is control, and let me qualify this, MAGA GOP. Because we do know there was some old school GOPs like, no, we ain't going for this. They even supported Kamala. So everybody's not drinking the Kool-Aid, okay? Everybody's not. Then with women, white women, we had 45% vote for Harris, and then Trump 53%. Black women, 91% voted for Harris, and Trump 7%. Now, I am going to say this. Some people didn't necessarily vote for Kamala because they thought she should be the president, but it was because she was black. I try not to get caught up in just because somebody is my race or the same sex as me or whatever, live on my block, to vote for them. There's some people in my family, if they ran for something, I wouldn't vote for them. And I tell you not to. Okay. I just don't support to support. And that is how I was raised. That's how both my parents were. You don't just go along to get along just because. And then Latino women, 60% voted for Harris and 38% voted for Trump. So there's a big disparity. But the Latino women were closer to the black females than anyone. Then this was strictly for white women. College graduates, 57% for Harris, Trump 41%. No college degree, 35% for Harris, and Trump 63%. So I can only assume that these poor white women really believe that Trump has their best interests at heart. And when he gets in the next 4 years, they're going to become wealthy and millionaires too. And also to maintain the white race as the majority. And y'all, ain't nobody mad about the white race being the majority. They've been the majority forever. We're just tired of them trying to keep us down and others that's oppressed. This world is big enough. There's enough money for everybody to make. There's enough success for everybody to be successful if they want to by our standards of success. However, people that work in laboring jobs, such as maids, fast food, the jobs that nobody wants to do. We even look down on plumbers and things like that. We need all these service people. And in these United States of America, they should be able to make a livable wage. They don't need a college degree for that. The fact that you got to clean an entire hotel or whatever your floors are, that's work. That's work. And to show you how much you value some of these service people, you hire them to work in your house, although you don't pay them like you should. You don't give them no benefits. So it just shows your heart is evil. Now let's get to these men. 18 to 29, 47% for Harris and 49% Trump. So I had to ask her, we raising a bunch of narcissistic young males in the world. They don't have this by race as far as the age. Well, it does have by age, but not with this particular one. This is just all men. 30 to 44, 43%, then 53% for Trump. I'm thinking that 30 to 44, those are millennials. Maybe they some techies or something. They got a lot of money and they also want to control women. 45 to 64, that's my age group. 38% for Harris and 60% for Trump. They too wish women were barefoot and pregnant in the house. Okay. I was talking to someone and they were like asking me, had my husband ever treated me like that? I said, no, nah, but he knew he couldn't. I don't know if he would have or not. I like to think he would not have. But according to this, 60% of them agree with Trump. Be it, and I don't think if you group the black men here, I don't think it's so much about wealth. I think it's about more about control. Then 65%, 44% for Harris, and then 55% for Trump. Okay, now let's get down to these men by race. White, 37% for Harris, 60% for Trump. Black men, 77% for Harris, but 21% for Trump. I was in having a dialogue with a young man, and he felt like it's because black women are controlling and da 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 da. You don't think Trump controlling? I'm amazed, y'all. Sometimes to me, it's just stuck on stupid. If you don't think Trump is controlling, I'm talking about like Hitler like, Idi Amin like, all of those. What's the man name? Kim Jong, Vladimir Putin. Yes, all of those men. Okay. And then Latino, they had 43% for Harris and 55% for Trump. I actually listened to a Latino man from New York who's talked about this. He said he didn't feel this way. He said, but for the most part, Latino men are very controlling and they do want to control Latino women. So that's why they would support Trump, that he would give them more control over women and limit what they would do. I can believe that. Then the other, they didn't have who I was in the other. We could just assume those that did not identify as white, black, or Latino, 48% for Harris and 46% for Trump. So it just goes to show you, I think in this race on this way, people were just so torn. And I talked to many people who felt like they call it the lesser of the evils. I don't like to subscribe to that because for me, if you're picking the lesser of the evil, should you be picking at all? Should you be choosing at all? And then get to why I, in the end, ultimately voted for Kamala. I went home, had death in the family, and ended up going to my hometown unexpectedly. And going down, when I went down, I was like, okay, let me stay with my aunt. I hadn't spent the night with her since I was a child. And my mother is deceased now. So I said, I'm gonna stay with my aunt, which I did. I stayed with my aunt. I call her my auntie mom. And we had a good time. You know, she 90, y'all, but she still want to cook and stuff. But I nipped all in the butt. I said, auntie, if you think I'm finna come here and you 90 and you finna wait on me, that ain't happening. Young folks get a clue. When you show up to your seniors, you need to be waiting on them, not them waiting on you. Okay, not them waiting on you. So what I did, we sat there and talked, and we, of course, my aunt was a civil rights activist. Her and her husband, he's now deceased. They were major in getting people to getting the Bruton, Alabama courthouse integrated, the first black person hired there, uh, other things. And she worked at this black only school called Southern Norma. It was like an elite school back in the day. She taught history. She knows history backwards, up and down. So we were talking, I was sharing with her my why. Definitely Trump was not on my list, okay? Because I think the man don't have one fruit of the spirit, but the evangelicals have made him saved, sanctified, Holy Ghost filled, fire baptized, and act like he's the second coming of Christ. Okay. That bothers me. And not to mention Donnie Swagger, of all people, gonna talk to the black church about what they need to do. You need to go talk to the white church about what they need to do. All of us have some things that are wrong that we need to get right. So I was sharing with her my reasons why. I was like, Auntie, I just don't think as a believer I should vote for either because of this. I said there are aspects of Kamala I do like. I do believe she care about all people. I really, really do. There was just some things and maybe it could be me, missed it. I know she did some things, but I'm like this. My issue I have with a lot of our black people that are in politics, they should be more vigilant and infused in the community, educating, letting us know exactly what's going on. And, this is coming down the pipe. Because when we get it, it's so watered down, we don't even know what the backstory was. So that was kind of my problem. And, but my aunt said this, and she really talked about reproductive rights. And she's the one that said, Val, if they chip at this, the next thing you know, and this was my aunt who's 90. She said, we'll have black and white water fountains again. We'll have the back of the bus again. They have us back in the field again. And she's sharing her trajectory, how she, against our odds, was even able to go to college. Okay. My mom could not. My mom was the second oldest of the 11 children my grandmother had. And I can't remember exactly which one Aunt Emma was. I think she might have been like six or something like that. So as I sat there and listened to my aunt talk about what she had stood up for, she was a foot soldier, her and many other, being at Alabama State as a student when Martin Luther King's house got bombed and they just knew he had been murdered. In that, and just all the things she had, her first job, she didn't have an option to go work anywhere else. She had to take the job that she got. So I came back. I said, well, Auntie, I'm just going to have to meditate and pray on it. And y'all, from the moment until I left her house, I was like, okay, Lord, what do I do here? And it was not until I walked into the voting poll that Tuesday morning. And I probably stayed in the voting poll longer than I ever have on any election. And what I initially did, I skipped over the president's box. And I just went down. And I'm one of those people, y'all, I don't do straight nothing. I like to bubble in by my name. That's just me. I like to bubble in by my name, by the name. So I just kind of sat there and I was standing at the podium, where you mark your ballot. And I was like, Lord, this is tough for me. And I'm just thinking about, even with the scripture, love your neighbor. And I do believe Kamala got that down. But the hardline stance on things I don't support because of my Christian belief. But I also don't beat people up because of them. I can say I don't agree with the LGBTQ lifestyle, but I'm not going to bash them. I have a very dear friend, and I come several that are gay. I love them. I don't beat them up. When I talk to them, I ain't quote scripture to them all the time. I let them know I love them, but they also respect me enough. They don't commingle their lifestyle with me. Let's talk about DEI. Let's talk about DEI. Diversity, equity, and inclusion, as we call it now. Now, when they ended slavery, the hoax, 40 acres and a mule. My understanding, some people got to keep theirs, but the majority of them did not, because they reversed it immediately. Came up with ways to take it back. And one of the ways was they added the incarceration, that there should be no institution as slavery or servitude, except in instance if you break the law and you go to jail. Okay. And they immediately start locking up mainly black men, jaywalking, anything, dropping paper on the ground, any jumped up reasons, which walked us to here today. And y'all seen me talk about this book several times. I'm gonna hold it up here. White Rage. It's not what you think it is, okay? You can't see her name, but her name is Dr. Carol Anderson at Emory University. She addresses how the fight to really keep Jim Crow and the oppressive things that we experience started immediately after the 13th Amendment was passed. Immediately. They didn't wait a year or two or nothing. As you know, discrimination and all of it. You know, George Wallace stood in the door. And everybody talk about that with Alabama, but there was a lot of other people standing in doors. Okay. It's kind of like Rosa Parks being on the bus. That particular day, it hit the fan and meant something. Whereas before, the young other black girl who had done it before didn't get as much. Two reasons they felt like, just keeping it real, colorism is real. She was dark skinned, and plus she was an unwed single mother. Okay. She didn't give up her seat. But for whatever reason, God had Rosa Parks to be the person that launched the Montgomery bus boycott that lasted over a year. They just stay off 2 minutes and get back on. So with what we're experiencing now, with all of these unqualified people being chosen for key things, whereas in the workplace, if we're overly qualified, many times we don't get the job. And yeah, we do know we're the DEI hire, but we also know with DEI, they hired most black people that they knew were not going to push back against any of the oppressive things they did in the workplace. Okay. Me, cry loud, spare not kind of chick. That's how Miriam Purvis raised me. Okay. Jesus was a cry loud and spare not person. Peter, John, all those people in the Bible. That is exactly what they did. Deborah the judge back in the Old Testament, yep, cry loud and spare not, okay? And that is what we're called. The Bible tells us we're to care about the poor, the marginalized, that we should not do unjust gain, that we should not cheat people. We should not have unbalanced scales in the marketplace, but the Bible says they would be. We're seeing it now with the cost of things. And yes, things have gone down. They have gone down, but they're still higher than they should be. So what you have to ask yourself, are you gaining your wealth more important than you making sure the poor stay poor? Elon Musk, how much money do you need? How much money do you need? And it's funny how you can spend it on foolish stuff, but if somebody asks you to pay for some underserved black or other marginalized person to go to school or help them get situated, whatever the need is. Some single mom needed a car just to get to work. She just need a car to get to work and just take care of her family. Or dad, a black male or other getting out of prison, just need a chance so that they won't be driven back to crime because they cannot get a job. You all don't want to help them, but you waste money. I know what y'all gonna say. It's his money. He can spend it the way he want to. Yeah, he can, but don't sit here and act like his advantage is because he's white. I know he's cramming South Africa. Okay, colonizers. They were doing just fine before the Europeans showed up over there. Okay. And anybody want to have a conversation with me about this? Hold on. Let me put up the stuff. Because I've been trying to get some people to engage with me. But it's hard because y'all don't want to hear the hard truth. I'm gonna listen to what you say, but you're also gonna listen to what I say. Uh, Conversation is art. You can send me an email, or you can go on Facebook and message me. You can message me, and I'm gonna listen to what you say. I'm not about arguing with people anymore. I'm not gonna try to convince you to feel the way I feel, but I'm gonna tell you my opinion on the matter. I had to tell a young man, we were in a forum having a conversation, and I said something that triggered him, and it was a white male, and he was like, "Well, that's the problem. You don't want to listen." And I said, "There it is. There's that white male narcissistic black girl. I told you how I need to be. You need to listen to me. Guess what? When I responded back and told him that, uh, didn't have nothing else to say. Went ghost. Okay. Went ghost. Cause y'all, I'm be honest with you. It may come down to us, you all. Somebody got to be willing to die to not let this go down a full rabbit hole. Okay, are you willing to take a stand, or are you gonna do like I hear a lot of people? Well, it ain't my problem. It is. You may think because you got a little change in your bank account, but you don't realize if Trump enacts what he says he's gonna do you not think that he will say that anybody that speak out against him shut down their bank accounts? And these fools that he got following him would do it. This time around, y'all, he's gotten more cunning. You know how the Bible said about the man that he was stealing from his founder and from his employee, and it found out. So he got mad with him. So he said, well, since he'll fire me, let me go to these people, take these books and tell them, oh, you owed $1,000. You don't owe $500. Now I fixed the books before I left. He got him some friends. So Trump is shrewd. Now he's winning, gotten, I'm going to say devils just like him. J.D. Vance, Matt Gantz. You see how quick Steve Bannon came right back out of prison and jumped back on his YouTube channel like he had never been. How many of us, black people, could do that? Or some other marginalized person. And the thing with poor white people, they count on whiteness to be their savior. And someone just posted that they found that a black person in a position of authority had to be more qualified than whites that served in the same or equivalent position. And that is so true. I to raise my kids. You ain't got to be smarter and you don't need to work harder. Do what you're going to do. Because why are we training our kids to exert themselves unnecessarily, unnecessary stress? Either you feel I'm qualified or I'm not. And I'm so amazed at how many black people are still afraid to speak up in these institutions. They're going to be even more afraid now with DEI gone. And speaking of DEI, y'all, I got this Al Rollins page today. And I hope I know it should be in the copyright infringements with him dissecting this. He covered it, but I want y'all to listen to it. Now, I don't agree with everything Jasmine Crockett say, and let's say I don't expect nobody to agree with everything I say. I didn't agree with everything my mother and father said, so that's cool. That's the problem we got to learn. We do not have to always agree. We can agree to disagree and move on. Now, the only reason I'm going to cut you off is if your belief system is geared toward doing harm to me. I ain't got nothing to say to you unless the Holy Ghost tell me, Val, this your thorn in your side. And I'm going to say, Lord, can you send me a witness to tell me I need to go on and go through this? And there are some things, you all, some positions we are put in as believers, we got to learn to take it. But for the most part, if you're doing something that's going to cause harm to me, I am not going to be in fellowship with you long. So I hope this works. Let me see, because my computer was cutting up earlier today. So I think I'm going to be able to share it. Let me see. Okay, screen share. It helps when I have somebody on here to occupy y'all and talk while I'm trying to share the screen. But I'll have that tonight, okay? I'm trying to work it out.
So many of you know that I practice law, but some of you don't realize that I actually was a business major out of Rhodes College in Memphis, Tennessee. And the emphasis that I got in my business degree was on finance. And as I traveled the country campaigning this election cycle, one of the things that I talked about was this idea that in finance, we always promote this idea of diversity. If you know anything about a portfolio, the one thing that you want to do is make sure that it's as diverse as possible, because at times certain stocks will perform better than others, and they will exemplify various strengths and weaknesses. And together, a diverse portfolio is usually what any good finance person would promote. They wouldn't promote that you solely invest in vanilla wafers, believing that that is going to be the strongest portfolio, but instead they may want to add some chocolate cake and some Twinkies into the mix to make sure that we have the best portfolio, because there will be different preferences by different people. And again, there will be different strengths. But as I sit here and I think about what we say and what I'm hearing as it relates to diversity when it comes to anything outside of making money, and to be clear, we are losing GDP every time we try to push back on this idea of diversity, because all of us bring something different to the table. But you consistently said over and over the word oppression, and every time that you said it, it was almost as if I was hearing nails on a chalkboard, because it seems like you don't understand the definition of oppression. And I'd ask you to just refer to Google to help you out. Oppression is the prolonged, cruel, or unjust treatment or control. That is the definition of oppression. And so as I sit here as a Black woman who practiced civil rights, let me tell you, the reason that my colleagues wanted to make sure you understood the same Black history that your side of the aisle wants to delete out of classrooms is because you can then misuse words like oppression. There has been no oppression for the white man in this country. You tell me which white men were dragged out of their homes. You tell me which one of them got dragged all the way across an ocean and told that you are going to go and work. We are going to steal your wives. We are going to rape your wives. That didn't happen. That is oppression. We didn't ask to be here. We're not the same migrants that y'all constantly come up against. We didn't run away from home. We were stolen. So yeah, we are going to sit here and be offended when you want to sit here and act like, and don't let it escape you that it is white men on this side of the aisle telling us, people of color on this side of the aisle, that y'all are the ones being oppressed, that y'all are the ones that are being harmed. That's not the definition of oppression. You tell me the prolonged, cruel, or unjust treatment that you've had, and we can have a conversation.
You could start with Exodus.
The final thing that I will say on this particular issue, two things. There is an article from The Guardian, and it is a little old. It's from 2021, so I apologize. But it said that back then, just 3 years ago, white men represent 30% of the population, but 62% of office holders. These are the issues that we are constantly looking at and recognizing and trying to say, is this just? I can't even tell you how many white men have served in this chamber, but I can tell you that I am only the 55th Black woman to be elected to Congress. And so when you want to talk about history and pretend as if it was so long ago, it wasn't. Because again, I am just number 55. Finally, when we start to talk about what do these numbers do, as we're trying to say the diversity, equity, and inclusion is the problem, the reality is that when it comes to financial performance, companies with more diverse workforces are more likely to outperform their competitors. Companies in the top quartile for racial diversity are 35% more likely to outperform their peers on profitability. Companies with diverse executive teams are 25% more likely to generate greater profits. Diverse companies earn 2.5 times higher cash flow per employee. Diversity works. And until you can show me data that says otherwise, I think that we need to go back to being a country that listens to experts and gets out of our feelings and recognizes again that racism is real in this country. And until we stop pretending that it's not, we will not solve the problems that we are consistently facing. And that will bring real unity that we seek when we're looking for a more perfect union.
And you all, I wanted to share that because It was powerful. It was very true. Like I say, I don't agree with everything she says, but this was spot on. And these are the conversations I have, y'all. Until we speak out, you all. What they say, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. So we have to speak up when we see wrong. I am not going to take a game when I know it's set up intentionally to harm somebody that has far less than me. Y'all, the morality compass, the integrity in this United States, the world, it's in a very low state, a very low state. And it's sad. And let's go down to talk about the Secretary of Education, Linda McMahon. Okay, I looked her up. Y'all, trust me, I want to live. I want to live to be a ripe old age. But guess what I don't want to do? I do not want to be 76 trying to run nothing. Okay, let's just keep it real. I didn't get to do a whole lot of research on her, but from what I gathered, based on, I think if this is the right one, did she lie about something about her education? She got a degree in French and did a certificate in something and had to resign from some other school. But she's into charter schools and what is it? You can get to go to school, the vouchers. And I listened to someone talk about this. And what it is, and this was a young guy on YouTube, he said, what happens with the vouchers is that if you are a family with money, then you can take the voucher and you can drive your child to whatever school you want to. Um, or but it still leave the poor people still have to be in that school. So why aren't we demanding that schools do better by funding them, by paying teachers more, by funding them, and stop taking money from education? Right here in the state of Alabama, we've taken money from education, but we're building a mega prison, which I found out yesterday is going to be named for Governor Ivey. First of all, I don't think you should name anything after humans anymore. Because eventually, somewhere down in history, they'll find out somebody come along and say, oh my gosh, she was awful. Then you got to change it and take the statue down. So just don't name things after people because their egos are already overinflated enough. So now they're going to name it after her, this big mega prison, which is privatizing it, which are privatized for we know who. It's white males getting rich off of this. Something else I was listening to Jasmine Crockett, and she did say it in there. Look at the portfolios of where these people in Congress and where monies are invested. It's all about money and also maintaining power and control over people. The entire United States system was set up on the white male saying that they know what's best for all humans. White women support them because they want to stay tied to the power that right now whiteness have, even though they're oppressed and mistreated. As long as they can go shopping, go on their fancy vacations, most of them will support it. So we got to look at, is stuff that important that we just want to continue to take advantage of people, oppress people? I want the homeless person to get, if they had came along bad luck, how can we help them get on their feet? I want the veteran who should not be homeless after serving in the United States military under no circumstances to get the mental health treatment they need in a timely manner and be treated with dignity and respect and have housing. We should not have homelessness in America. We should not have hungriness in America. This is insane. And yes, for those of you that think that just because Donald Trump is in office, that God ordained him. Well, the Bible says anybody in leadership, he has them there. And all of them ain't good, okay? God did allow him to be there. But you can be assured that the evil that is being sown will be reaped. I'm not against controlling the borders and knowing people coming over. However, you use these very people to build the infrastructure after black people were out of it. You made the Latinos your new form of slavery. That's what you did. You didn't pay them the right wages and not paying them the right wages to work in these fields, to do these crops, to build these homes, to build up your new business that you will go bankrupt on, and then don't pay a small business owner. And then you go get a loan, another loan, and keep it moving, which Donald Trump did after bankrupting small businesses and not paying them, though he owed them. So y'all mean to tell me that this is who you think is an honorable person? And Lindsey Graham, woe unto you, buddy, when you stand before the judgment seat. Because you didn't stay with the old GOP. You came on to the new MAGA. I know somebody got some receipts on you too. So you all, I'm imploring to the black race. And let me speak to the black race, those identify as black, that really care about people, who really and you don't have to be saved to really care about people, because there's some people that are saved that don't care about people. Okay, let me be clear on that. We have got to invest in our own with our time, our talents, and our treasure, aka money. We need to volunteer. We need to find some child that's in college that's barely holding on, cash out them some money, find out what they need. If there's a family that needs some food, a lot of us ain't even got no shopping. You can go in your refrigerator, your deep freezer, give somebody a lot. Black Friday coming up next week. And cyber shopping, y'all doing that now. If y'all run out here in these streets, spending your money on people that have clearly shown you they do not have your best interest in heart, shame on you, and you get what you get. Yes, do we have to buy things, goods and services? Yes, but we get to choose what they are. Your nails ain't really got to be done. Go find you somebody that look like you to do them. I can't think of the name of the young lady that's downtown Birmingham, got a nail shop. I can't think of what the name of it is. I don't get my nails done, but when I do occasionally get it, I drive over on the west side to 6th Avenue South and have this young black lady do my manicure. I ain't got nothing against the Asian people, but I am tired of us making everybody else rich and nobody's caring about us. Keep your car a little longer. You ain't got to buy $1 million house. It's going to take us to save us, because nobody else is really concerned about us. And until we get that, we're going to stay at the bottom. And we're going to keep trusting them. All they got to do is, Donald Trump said, I care about y'all. And his history clearly shows he does not. I would have voted for him if I thought I could trust him. I would have voted for him if I thought he was a good businessman. I would have voted for him if I thought he was an honorable person. He is not. He is not. And the fact that so many black people, Latinos, really believed it. And I listened to some black people that were saying why they supported them. I'm looking at them thinking, baby, you may not even have your job tomorrow when all this is said and done. And they really could not say why they did not. Now they did say, we voted for him because Barack Obama did not do anything for black people. Let me say this. Barack Obama could not go in there and save the black race, okay, and give everything to us. He would have been no worse than them. If you just cater to one subset of people and you're in a position exclusively, you're no better. You got to be concerned about all people. Now, this is what I believe in: equality. People that make certain amounts of money, they should carry the heavy tax burden. Period. I believe there's a level of income in the United States that should not even be taxed, because it is poverty level. Should not even pay taxes. We get taxed before we get our checks. We get taxed when we go buy groceries. We get taxed for our homes. We get taxed for our tags. We paying the tax on the tax on the tax. So at the end of the day, net income is not your net income. This system was set up to make a few people wealthy. And I know what some people say, this for white people or others that may come across and disagree, fine. Yes, there are some wealthy black people. You have some that are true entrepreneurs, but many of them are in the movie industry, talk shows, sports. And I'm glad they had the opportunity. At least I ain't mad at Steph Curry for making what they made. They getting their 40 acres and mules plus. But I will say this, Steph Curry does give back. But I will say this. If Donald Trump does what he says he wants to do, it's very possibly that black people in sports now seen as a threat. We don't like that no more. They don't came and took over. They don't got arrogant. They don't make money. We gotta show them. We gotta prove to them that they ain't in charge. And guess what, y'all? We ain't. If white males that are in positions of power wanted to shut Oprah Winfrey and Tyler Perry down, they could. I'm sure they smart enough. I hope they got some money out the country. But in America, Trump could say freeze their assets. Ain't gotta be a reason. It's just because he said do it, because he mad. So I hope everybody get hunkered down. I think today God still showed some grace when he had Matt Gantz to step down. And I do believe that through all of this, God is going to do some things to show people that he is God. But we are going to go through the fire. And if you don't know God, the fourth man would not be in there with you. And if any of y'all don't know what the fourth man up is, just go read about the Hebrew boys in the fiery furnace. So I recommend everybody, you cut back on spending. You don't need all that stuff. Eat the food out your freezer in your cabinet. Learn to do with less. Still sow seeds into somebody else's life, because that's what we're called to do, and give people hope. And I need everyone to speak up. Speak up. If you're in a space and something is said out of order, inappropriate, you need to call them out. If they bold enough to say it, be bold enough to call them out. And of course, we always going to be led by the Spirit, for sure. But we need to speak up against wrong, no matter who it is. And if they fool around with these school vouchers and end up privatizing schools, we definitely going to be in a whole nother state then. And I'm going to close with this about share. Those of you that live in the Birmingham area, Alabama, I live in Hoover. I moved to Hoover in my anger against the Birmingham school system, because the one my child was on to was a low performing, didn't have the books. I'm talking about core books, science and math. And I had a privilege. God had blessed me as a nurse. Me and my husband, we money, I could move. If I had a do-over in life, I would have stayed in Birmingham and ran for office. As bad as I don't want to be in politics, I wish I had a ran for school board. Maybe even some other office, because until people with integrity run for some of these spaces, we're going to keep getting the same stuff over and over again. And it's only going to get worse. Now, that stuff in the Bible going to be fulfilled. But as believers, we can interrupt the cycle. So I'm imploring everyone. I need us to become cycle interrupters, okay? We need to stop sitting back. We need to stop sitting back. And that's right, Renee. God will move. But we got to be doing something. If y'all really pay attention to it, all of God, Jesus' disciples, they were busy working. Wasn't nobody sitting down on their stool or do nothing, as my mama would say. Okay. So remember that. We can start over. That's why, although I live in Hoover, I work and volunteer and do stuff in Birmingham. Hoover got enough money. I ain't giving them one second of my time, of my resources, other than these property taxes. that we paying. I drive on the west side, which is where I live, and buy meats and stuff. Is it an inconvenience? Darn, skip it. But I'm ready to be inconvenienced. We got to learn to be inconvenient. Okay? Most definitely. So let me throw up these advertisements real quick. That's my former co-host, Valton Johnson. Valton is holding a youth film fest next year. So if you can, going back to what I said, it's gonna take us to save us. Valton is trying to show these children there are other things to do other than sports. This is ways they can own their own business. If they learn to do film and stuff, they can write and get paid. So please support him. You can donate at Youth Film Fest. I'm dropping all this in the chat. Um, our friend Sharon Ray North, she's released a new Christmas album. Please go and download it. You can also go to her website and see what else she's got, see where she's performing. I've had an opportunity to see her. Renee was there with me in Atlanta. It was phenomenal. Then this is my girl right here. This is me and Renee sorority sister, Costello. Oh, I took another friend to see her. She was phenomenal. And she has a song that she redid called Nights Over Egypt. It is number one in Spain. And I think it's number 10 here. So it's downloaded on all streaming platforms. So go out and get that. And we had these beautiful ladies on was it last week? Their pharmacists, Doctors Jennifer Campbell and Dr. Pauline Long. They are my pharmacists because guess what? It's going to take us to save us and help us. When I found out that we had a Black pharmacist in Birmingham, I immediately changed me and my husband's prescriptions. Yes, some would say it's an inconvenience for going down. But guess what? We got to do what we got to do to help take care of people that are doing well and that are helping our communities. They do great education. If you are looking for a job, God Sitting Partners is hiring. This is also a Black-owned business. A young lady, um, her name is Quateria Bryant. She owns this business. She loves taking care of the elderly. She's doing wonderful. She's had it 5 years. So if you don't steal, if you don't abuse people, if you treat seniors right, you can go and apply for a job. And then last but not least, y'all, next week is Thanksgiving, so no show. And on December 4th, we will have Mr. Herbert Gooden. The second, I call him the mind body regulator. And if you want to know what that means, you have to show up on December 5th. And with that being said, after December 5th, I will be going off the air for a few months. I'm taking a class that I need to go on and get finished. And the only way to get it done is I'm going to have to pull back from Conversations Art. That is a good thing about this just being my therapy for right now. So I can stop when I want to and start back up. But I will be back. And I'm going to be learning this Restream platform better since they changed it on October the 31st. So I'm learning how to navigate it. I do like the way it's set up because it makes things a little bit easier, but I got to get more familiar with it. So I thank you all for joining. Be sure to enjoy your Thanksgiving, love on your family, and with Christmas, tell them you love them. Give them a peppermint stick. Don't go broke. Don't go run up no more debt. Pay things off so that you can help somebody else. And one last thing, I dropped the link to that video that I showed because it has Summer Lee. I did not play it. She's also in Congress. She's an attorney too, like Jasmine. And their personalities are polar opposite. You need both. I like to think my friend Renee, and I think Rita may be on here. We're polar opposite, but you need both. You need to cry loud and spare not. And then you need that person that's kind of genteel. Okay. I'm Jasmine. Okay. But now the Holy Ghost can put a little bit of summer in me. But I leave that to Renee. She is more geared toward that. So you all have a good night. Enjoy your Thanksgiving, and I'll see you all